I think I got rain on my glasses. What was that? Okay, what I do? Dude, wrong thing. Wrong thing. Hold on, hold on. Auto find, activate. Auto find and activate. Okay. Auto find and activate. What do you mean? The stream's right there. You crazy? Uh. Okay. Let's do this 2, 3. We'll go to 2 hours. Start. What up, Mehmet? Hold on, brother. I'm still setting up. There we go. Docs. There. Does that work? EnviroPro. EnviroPro. Wait, why is that not working? Uh-oh. I broke something. I definitely broke something. Pause. Play. Go. Interesting. Interesting. What did I break? Oh, that's not working either. Oh, is that the wrong thing? The legend is live. Okay, hold on. I definitely broke something. Boom. 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 Stop. MEVME. Is that it? Nope, that's definitely the wrong one. Auto find and activate. There we go. Okay. All right. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I had it on the wrong stream. Richard. My name's Richard. Brother. It's Richard. 10, 2 hours. All right. Oh, I'm almost there. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for your supporting the. There we go. There we go. Down to exclamation point. Oh, that's an exclamation point. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Start goal. Start goal. Start goal. Okay. Close. Close. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Hello. Uh-oh. I don't have that either. Let's pin this. Pin message. All right. All right. Okay. Beautiful day in Oklahoma after a bad early tornado. Always so nice after the storms, especially when they're fatal. Yeah. Yeah, that could be rough. We actually had it's super sunny out right now, and we just had we probably got a half inch of rain in 10 minutes. Like it just started freaking pouring. It was. Let's see if we can get any data on that. Bam. Okay. Um. 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 Current precipitation for today. I don't want to forecast. Let's see. Intensity. Man, that's what I need out. Morals will start growing around. Morels will start growing around ground temperature and air temperature is perfect. You get them morels. This one wrote a novel. We wrote a novel. What up, Abdullah? Abdullah Farouk. Um, Okay, a quarter of an inch. Oh, wait a second. Oh, that's forecast. I don't know. Okay, now I guess I gotta log into somebody's weather meter. That's me. All right, cool. We done made it. All right. Okay, where were we? Where were we today? Where were we? Hey, there you go. Thank you for joining the Twitch, brother. Yep. Yep. I get a lot of Middle Easterners here. I got people from Oman, Saudi Arabia, Greece, if you consider Greece the Middle East, Indonesia, Philippines, Serbia, Canada, Germany, Oklahoma, Italy, Wisconsin, Norway, Romania, a bunch of different places all around India. Istanbul. Yeah, quite a bit, quite a few. Okay. Definitely Turkey too, right? Do you partake in foraging of morel mushrooms? Brother, when I was in my 20s and 30s, and actually, so I still do, not morels, but I got the turkey tail that grows in my yard, and I've got chicken of the woods. Merry Christmas. Yeah. I haven't taken it down yet. I Okay, legends. What up, Lauren? What's up, Kat? It's going good, going good. That's all my subscribers over on the YouTubes. I really want to try chicken to the woods. Yeah, we got it growing right out back. Chicken mushrooms, cool. Hey, that's what you came talking at the perfect time. Yeah, it's pretty. Let's look it up. Pooping for 10 minutes. Oh, popping in for 10 minutes. Okay, let's see. All right, chicken of the woods mushrooms. Chicken, not recipe. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, there it is, and it tastes like chicken. Only 2 likes. One was me. Hit the like buttons, peeps. Okay, let's see. Bright on. Yeah. Let's get some, so you guys can see it. Yeah, it looks really good. No. I've been streaming for over a year. On Twitch. I just started. I added Twitch into the OBS. So when I set up multi-stream, I was on YouTube for a year. Got monetized. I'm a YouTube partner now, and then I just figured. So now I did that. Now I just added Twitch on. I figured as people slowly grow in, I'll start looking into. I have like this chat aggregator that anybody that chats on Twitch or YouTube, it comes into one thing, so I can do things like this. Turkey tail, super abundant around, a lot of mushrooms. Right? Yeah. Yep. All right, let's look at some more mushrooms. This is what it looks like around here. Last of Us just wanted me to detox from city life. No, hey, understood. Listen, hey, I gotcha. Listen, I used to live in Baltimore City. You definitely got to detox from that. I'm in Georgia now, and I'm south of Atlanta. Basically, the sticks, what was the country, but it keeps getting filled in. So it's definitely not the city, but yeah, it's suburbs. Yeah, this is what you like to see. All right, let me see what you got to do here. There you go. Yeah, looking good. All right, let's see. Mushrooms you can forage in Georgia. Okay. Swampy appleseed. I have the community has a Minecraft server. We do Minecraft 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. 8 to 10. Just normal human being. Hello. Just normal human being. Dude. Yeah, those are good looking. And a lot of this turkey tail, a lot, that's all over my backyard. Yeah, making it happen, Lauren. Making it happen. What up, Jillian? I don't know what that is. We get well, let's look at Morels. Let's look at Morels. Morels. Oops. There you go. There you go. Normal human being for certain an alien. Yeah, it's absolutely Liberty caps growing everywhere you live. I'm a man. Like the stream chat. What other games you have been playing? No, nothing. None. I basically run a school, and so we do open topic. Like if you look, you have to look on my YouTube to see what I do. I do a lot of everything. Teach people science, history, electronics, physics, part of science, fart jokes, and then we also have recess. So we do a gaming. We do and it allows people in the stream and in the community to play together and see themselves on the stream and whatnot. But yeah, I don't play any other games. Not yet. So there's a couple that people have donated for March. January I did Outlast. Outlast. Yeah, Outlast. Morels for the win. I love football though, not maths. Math. Yeah. Outlast. Right. Yeah. ND donated to me. And then Cinderblock was talking about donating for March. I can't remember the name of the game. Why not what? Why not play more games? I'm busy. Look, I stream like 10 hours a day. I got a bag of math. Thank you very much, Lauren. Nice to meet you, my friend. Thank you. Why not physics? Oh, absolutely. A lot of physics. A lot. My father is a retired physicist. What up, Catherine? Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, a lot of physics. Like a lot of people, chemistry, a lot of chemistry, a lot of physics. But it's open topic. So if someone says, "Hey, can you tell me about this?" We can talk about that. So we go through topics a lot. It's good for my ADHD. My ADHD. My father is a maths teacher. More than you'd learn in high school and college. It's like a bar room on the internet. What's the difference between force and pressure? Pressure exerts a force. So pressure is the function basically, and then force is what, when you have you have a bottle, plastic bottle, glass bottle, you have a bottle, and you add pressure, you pressurize the air inside the bottle. The force that is exerted on the walls of the bottle. My mom's English teacher, digital nomad. Yeah, that's if you don't mind, can I ask where you're from? I'm from Baltimore, Maryland originally, and I'm in. I worked in the movie industry down here in Georgia for 15 years, and I left last January to do YouTube full time. But yeah, from Baltimore originally. I dislike kindergartners. You can tell me. Well, you can tell me when Iran forces will surrender. It'll probably be a week. So we only know what we know from propaganda that we hear, and from what we hear here, we've been following every single one of the people that were hurting the people in their own nations for 5 years. So we know where everybody's at, and they're what I would hope to believe is that if this becomes World War III, it won't be like World War II, because we've got laser beams and guided weapons and precise munitions and a well-trained army, World War I and II, we just said, hey, you, stop sweeping, and here's a gun. So it's a completely different world we live in now. I have not read Absurdism. I have been told I should. I'm a fan I'm a fan of everything. Kinematics, skinematics. You like to speak? How does your mom do that as an English teacher? Do what? Kinematics, dynamics. Yep, functional dynamics. Yeah. I'm right now. I'm in Georgia, Sharia. Scotland. Welcome from. What's the difference between a ghost and a human? A ghost is a disembodied spirit, and a human is an embodied spirit. Depends who you ask, too. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't think it's going to be. Listen, Iran pissed off a lot of people for 47 years, and they started to kill 50,000 of their own people in 2 months, people aged 13 to 24, because they were running out of water. So their people started going to the streets like, what's going on? We're dying of dehydration. And they're like, shut up. Just indiscriminately. Kids. So they shut off the internet so we wouldn't see that. But enough people there had satellite internet and whatnot that it got out. Answered with a jumble. I can answer with a jumble. I got like 7 questions. Do you have a question, Anthony, you want to ask? Go ahead, brother. Tell us about yourself. My name is Richard. I live in Georgia. I'm a high school dropout, college dropout, prop maker. Worked for the movie industry for 15 years. Now I'm a full-time freaking internet face. No, Catherine has said her mom is an English teacher and a digital nomad. I would probably teach English online. I would guess, man, war is definitely not where we need right now. I agree. Listen, here's the thing. If you love the human population and you want the least amount of them to die, and a handful of people are killing more people than the war would, the war most likely would not kill 50,000 people. And they killed 50,000 of their own kids, children, in 2 months. Just because they said, hey, what are you doing? Why don't we have water? What's the difference between an animal and a human? Free will, Daniel. Animals run by their instincts. There you go. Yeah, math and chemistry is a good stuff. What up, nobody? Daniel Broccoli. Humans have instincts and animals have free will. Other way around. Humans have instincts and free will. Animals don't have free will. At least that we can tell, but they definitely have instincts. That's how, when you have chickens and whatnot, I have 8 chickens, they know how to make love and stuff, and they know how to lay the eggs and how long to lay on it. How do they know that? They never went to school. They never went, no one ever said, you got to lay on the egg for 7, Humans are animals, right? The Earth is 71% covered by water. Thank you, just a normal human being. We've got a new one. Internet beast. Hello. Thank you, my friend. Maggie looks like an actor from The Pianist. It's Adrian Brody. I used to get that a lot because of my nose. But this is custom. I broke it 12 times skateboarding. What up, cuh? If animals have free, I think animals have free will. We can look into it. Humans don't really have instincts, more so drives and reflexes. I have to agree with that too. So when I left my career last January 2025, I went around to all of my neighbors and I said, "Hey, I'm leaving the movie industry to do social media full time." And I said, "So if you need anything done, if you're going to pay anybody to do anything, give me a quote, or I'll give you a quote, and I'll beat whoever's quote." And so that's what I do. I help my neighbors, and now I'm monetized on YouTube. Like the squirrels out back do what they want. Right. But do they know why they're doing what they want? Like if a squirrel sees another squirrel, do you think they just say, "No, I don't want to chase you today"? Or do you think their instinct is just to chase? Technically, babies have more instincts. but his instincts fade. How do you get your numbers on the supposed killings? Facts, please. Plus the press release, unsanctioned attack referred to nukes. The propaganda that's released on the news. Yeah, and I mentioned that. I mean, you can look it up for yourself, my friend. This isn't the War Channel, but yeah, that's the so what our news stations are telling us, and I don't watch the news, so I get the clippets that come out. This is why we're going to war. This is what's going on. I definitely have instincts for sure. Animals have thoughts and feelings. They sure do. Breaking your fall with the nose. A lot of times. I do. It's a good question. Let's look them up. Jim Carrey clone. No, not Cole. Jim Carrey clone. Not cologne. Yeah, look at this. Here we go. This is so freaking crazy, dude. They surely do. Phantom jellyfish. Actual. What's your favorite pizza? Ham and pineapple. Ham and pineapple. Blank snake, lowing nothing. Why? Listen, this is a very interesting thing about humans and humans that have never went to school or anything. They still know what they've learned from their parents and whatnot. But you don't have kids that, because they would die, obviously, if you left them on their own to see what they would learn on their own from scratch. That's a philosophical question. Why do you move like you drank 15 cans of Monster? Vitamin B12, baby. Tell us about the AI bubble. Okay, so we'll talk about AI. Let's talk about AI. So they oversold what the current AI technology could do by selling the future. And they got a whole crap ton of money, and they needed to show something for the investment money that was going to them. So they started building crap tons of data centers. Okay? Now, the AI can't do what they promised because they promised the future. And they're hoping with enough investment that they will be able to get there. The reason it's a bubble is because a lot of people with a lot of extra money sitting around also jumped on the AI bandwagon. And now there's a lot of competition. But the cream will float to the top. And that's when the AI bubble will pop. They chase stuff from breeding dominance. Yeah, they have almost a soul. It's crazy when you befriend wild animals. Yeah, I've had lots of wild animal buddies. The Jim Carrey clone. To be innocent. He just hires a body double to attend the events. That's what I think, too. That's what I think. He probably used the same company Joe Biden did. Why do you obsess over B12? Looking past, there weren't such things. Because in the past, people didn't ask for my help. When people realized that I knew a lot of things about a lot of things, they said, hey, I feel bad. How can you help? Why do you have energy all the time? And I say, just like somebody said, why do I look wired? Whatever. And I say, this is why. People ask, how do you stream 8 hours a day? Are you on drugs? And I say, no, I'm on B12. And then so that gets going. And then people ask, hey, man, what did you take B12 for? Well, I had ADHD for a lot of years. I was being medicated with stimulants on ADHD drugs. And then so I got off of that and I was like, okay, what am I going to figure out? So I started looking up what vitamin deficiencies cause ADHD-like symptoms, and vitamin B12 will pop up. So I started taking B12 and now I'm hyperactive but productive. So it's like, yeah, I have ADHD, but it's not a disability. It's actually like a superpower now because now I can do something with it. Absolutely not a vegan. No. Nope. Don't touch it. What up, Jonah? So here, I'll show you guys right here. Vitamin B12 and ADHD. Vitamin B12 deficiency is frequently associated with increased severity of ADHD symptoms, hyperactivity, impulsivity in children and adults. Studies show that individuals with ADHD often have lower serum B12 and homocysteine levels. Supplementation may improve symptoms. So this is why I talk about that a lot. There's a lot of people out there that are on pharmaceuticals for ADHD. when ADHD may be the body's inability to absorb B12 from the intestines into the bloodstream. Serum B12, serum levels means what's in the blood, but it's got to get from the digestive tract into the bloodstream, then from the bloodstream into the tissues. So there's different compounds that do that. What up, Professor? Why oxygen keeps us alive? Please explain to you why oxygen keeps us alive. So what metabolism, what life is the ability to take in something from the environment, use it, and then put out waste. And what's required for that in the systems as we're set up big thing is oxygen. It counteracts the waste. Oxygen is a food for our cellular metabolism. What's wrong with being on dry? I'm definitely not a vegan. No, dude. I'm closer to a carnivore. I got 8 chickens. I get 6 to 8 eggs every day. I'm gonna fail my physics. You'll be fine, brother. How you feel in your mind? I'm super motivated now. I used to hate waking up in the morning. I used to hate going to work every day. I used to hate going to sleep or trying to fall asleep. And then once I got healthy, that all went away. And I didn't do that until my mid-40s. Thank you, my brother. I love steam. I love steak. Listen, I'm a big fan. Do you know something about aliens? Because NASA said they're revealing something soon. I don't have any insider information, but I think it would be cool. I think if there's aliens that visit Earth, I think they visit from Earth. I think we might have some kind of water. Like, it's so interesting that you have a lot of this old video from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, like Super 8 film, 8mm film, that you have these weird flying objects that go directly like into the water at very high speeds. And I think it would be so cool if they were underwater aliens. Never showed up as a Caesar to the Caesar Awards. It was a makeup artist and Alexis Stone in a mask. Yeah, I saw that too. But did they say that? My AC is leaking and am I cooked? No, it's got a leak. If it's hot there, just like how when you have a cold glass of water with ice in it, you get beads of water on the outside, condensation. So your HVAC system works the same way. It works the same way. When you have hot air in your house and the cold refrigerant lines, they get beads of water on them, so they'll leak through. No, so you're fine unless it's leaking gas, your refrigerant. I got to fidget. I always got it, dude. Yeah, no, my legs move like this. Like I'm sitting here, I'm going like I could be playing. Absolutely legit disorder. Yeah, people don't understand the condition. Right. They just get told. And the big thing that pisses me off is when you go to a doctor and the doctor says you have ADHD, the first thing they say after that is here's some pills, not let's check your B12 levels. And that's crazy. That's super, especially like I've looked into this for months before I got it. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So when you say you think you have ADHD, what you're actually saying is I have ADHD-like symptoms. So that might be a vitamin deficiency, something as easy as that. There's still actually vegan protester live streams that come across occasionally. They get really upset when I point out that I like to kill to eat. Yeah, look, yeah. And they probably don't grow any of their own food. So they're eating all the a lot of our food that gets distributed, mass marketed food, it's taken off the vine before it's ripe, and then it's artificially ripened when it gets to the right before it gets to the supermarket. So it doesn't ripen connected to the ground, and it's sprayed with all kinds of crap so the bugs don't eat it. It's not good food. Oxygen's overrated. Why most Americans don't know basic math and science? Because they're dumb. We got a lot of really dumb people. And I think a big part of it is mental health issues. And not the mental health you need to go to a therapist, but mental health you need to get your physical health to get your mental health to work properly. That's what worked for me. What's your take on increased orca attacks on boats? I didn't know about increased orca attacks on boats. Let's look into it. Increased orca attacks on boats. Okay, since 2020, a critically endangered population of Iberian orcas. Here, let me shrink this down a little bit. Iberian orcas. Oops. Have increasingly targeted sailboats, causing hundreds of interactions, damaged over 250 vessels, and several sinkings. Okay. I just came up with the theory, and check this. So before we had oil that we pulled out of the ground, what did we use as our fat and oil supply? Blubber. So think about it. For like the 15, 16, 17, 18, into the 1900s, we were killing every single whale we came across to get its blubber. Maybe the whale populations have just recovered from that mass slaughter we did, and this is just their typical action. That's my best theory. Do you know what? Yeah, Gravity Falls. Yeah, absolutely. You say I look like Grandpa. The Grandpa from Gravity Falls. What's the meaning of life itself? To love and reproduce and pass information from parent to child. To learn to enjoy this beautiful planet we're on. What's the most interesting, mind-blowing thing you can tell us? You can help yourself. You don't need to pay for education. You don't need to pay for bullshit healthcare. If there's no bone or blood, make sure your body can absorb your nutrition from your food supply. That's the biggest thing. It changed my life. Define alien physics. The Bible says God created us, but it doesn't say anything about whether or not He didn't create us. That's correct. That's correct. What up, Sanfei? What up, Capitalist? If aliens use high-powered telescopes, they'd be seeing dinosaurs roaming. Right. Because they're so far away from us, they're looking back in time, right? So they would be seeing us, or the light that left the earth that long ago, right? Gluten is poison. Living in the dark ages almost. Yep. ADHD as a kid, I still have it, may have it. Listen, check methylcobalamin, vitamin B12, not cyanocobalamin. That's inactive and it's very short acting. Your liver's got to methylate it anyway. So get methylcobalamin. It's very inexpensive. You get it for $5 or $6. And if you have a vitamin B12 deficiency that's causing your symptoms, you'll notice a change in about an hour. Yeah, ADHD is permanent. Right, but the thing is, we don't know if ADHD causes a B12 deficiency, because in 96% of all people with ADHD that have been checked in studies, they're all adults and children, they're B12 deficient. So ADHD may be the body's inability to absorb B12 from our diet. It may be a gut problem that causes, it manifests as a psychological problem. Thank you for the advanced grades. Hey, thank you, brother. Welcome back, Bomber. Poland. We seem to be accelerating towards something. What's going on? Like evolution, technology getting better. Where's it all going from galactic time scale? If we time lapse it, what is it? So I'm going to tell you, it's not popular. I think it's a global warming period, and I don't think it's bad. We've been warming since the 1860s, and humans just flourish more and more. The more carbon dioxide in the air, the more plants seem to recover. Now, the human issue is that we cut down a lot of these plants. If we didn't cut down the trees and whatnot, we probably would have. And there's data for both. There's projections and can't remember the term I wanted to use. Models. Yes, there's scientific models for both. So it may be that we're warming and more CO2 is in the air, which means we can have more plants, which means we can grow more food, which means the cows can eat more food and we can grow more cows or pigs or deer or whatever. So this is a part that's not popularized because it's very political, and they can get political power by saying we need to save the world when it may just be a natural cycle. And I know we've got ice core stuff, but a big thing that happened not too long ago is while we were digging for ice cores, we hit an airplane from 1945. They were believed to be like 7 million years in the past, and there was an airplane from 1945. So now a lot of the data is being restructured. We don't know. Well, our ear can't hear everything. So our ear can't hear everything, so it's highly doubtful if plants are screaming or not. Right. But yes, but we have sensors. We have sensors that can turn different electrical signals in. They can shift it down in frequency to our audible range. Like we can hear hydrogen. Have you ever seen that? Look at this. So hydrogen obviously is at like the super gigahertz range, so we wouldn't hear it, but you can shift it down to the audible range. Oh, let's listen to the sun. It's screaming at us. Sound of the sun. This is so freaking cool.
Listen to this. Scientists just recorded these sounds coming from the sun. There were these chirping sounds, and this weird sound, and these hissing sounds. These sounds were recorded by this probe, which is traveling closer to the sun than any probe ever has before. But if you're thinking, hang on, you can't hear things in space because there's no air, you're exactly right. These sounds are really vibrations of electric and magnetic fields that scientists converted into sound waves. These ones specifically are the sounds of solar wind, or charged particles the sun blasts into our solar system. The whooshing.
ADHD can be taken care of very easily. ADHD, at least everyone, I've helped hundreds of people that have come through my streams that had ADHD, depression related to ADHD, and it ended up being vitamin deficiencies. So ADHD, it's only bad. Like I'm hyperactive as hell right now, but I'm productive. So it's not. It's no longer disabling to me. It's a blessing now. I can sleep finally. Everything. And the problem with Tourette's is it's socially, like nowadays ADHD is like, oh, you're cool. What's your disability? I got ADHD. Awesome. I got autism, So you're pushed up in society if you have it. But with Tourette's, obviously, you can say bad things at bad times. Yeah. Yeah, I can see your chat, Erica. I hate this show. This one here.
Sound.
At PS3 Scout.
Comes from changes in the speed of the solar
I take
wind.
methylene
And these
blue.
layered pitches
I don't take methylene red.
represent
I take
changes
methylene blue.
in temperature. When it gets hotter, the pitch
Savage?
gets higher. And when there's a big explosion, like a coronal mass ejection, everything gets louder. This new probe is generating a whole space symphony that we're just now getting to hear. If you want more optimistic science and tech stories, subscribe.
All right, let's find a better one here. I like sleep. Yeah, they're all good. Yep, everybody. Listen, 90%, depending who you ask and what studies you look at from what we're around the world, 60 to 90% of our planet is vitamin D deficiency. Of everyone on our planet is vitamin D deficient. We spend more time inside than before we had homes. So like people used to get a lot more sunlight, and vitamin D is synthesized in your skin. So if you don't get a good half hour of sunlight a day without sunscreen and stuff, you're most likely vitamin D deficient. I take vitamin D3 every single day. I take vitamin B12 every single day. I take vitamin K2, MK7 every single day. So they work together. So vitamin D3 takes calcium out of your intestines and puts it into your bloodstream. K2, MK7 takes it out of your bloodstream and moves it into your bones. And then B12 uses that calcium and other things to help create the myelin sheath, the insulation on your nerves and your neurotransmitters, norepinephrine, serotonin, dopamine. So you need that stuff. Buddy sleep. Buddy sleep. That's not good. Reading my Orca question. Look up Antarctic exploration and current findings. Also ultrasonic acoustic usage and how known. Yeah, dude, that shit's great. Yeah, I love Orca communication. Hey, thank you, happy boy. All right, let me catch up with this real quick. The acidification of the Earth. Yeah, I'll get right back to you. Let's look it up. Look up Antarctic exploration. Okay, all right. Ultrasonic usage. Whale subharmonic communication.
Whales can chat with each other over 1,000 miles away using low-frequency sound.
Is it norm in America?
Their voices travel through...
Listen, it's not the norm, but it should be the norm that we take it, because most of us are deficient. If you don't work outside, you're pretty much deficient. If you work in an office, if you play video games all day, if you stream all day, you're pretty much deficient, because these lights and your windows, a lot of windows have UV filtering on them so that your carpet and stuff doesn't fade from the sunlight. Well, that UV is what hits your skin and turns it into vitamin D, the melanocytes in your skin. So if you don't have that, you're definitely... Professor, sleep, please. Are you virgin? Yes, sir. Like the stream, chat. Alien fiber. No, not yet. I'm looking. I've got in communications with a couple of people that have asked me to be to be a co-host. The Sound of Silence, death. Dude, you're ignoring comprehensive body study. Goddamn Navy concluded the same as all showing evidence of climate change. Ignoring comprehensive body. Dude, what study are you reading? Last year's? No, you're not reading last year's study. If one simple question could change how someone would see the world, what would the question be? If one simple question could change how someone sees the world, what kind of question would it be? Don't trust studies till you see the backing studies, until you see them peer reviewed. I love the way she says probe. I work for more federal branches of government than anyone else here. All right. What? They're not saying it's negative. Listen, there's projections and models that say it's heading towards bad, but there's also ones that saying it's heading towards human flourishing. And I'm not going to lie to the people out here. I got D&D disease. What's your favorite dinosaur? The lick. Never mind. Vitamin B12, not cyanocobalamin, methylcobalamin. If you want, I can give you a link. They're the same exact stuff I use. It's up to you if you want it, if you use Amazon or whatever. Here, I don't want to do that. Superior source, Amazon, B12. Here, if anyone's interested, whatever, do what you want. Here it is, Amazon. I'm done with you. You're a fluke. You can you're a fluke. Zinc's also lacking in ADHD. Yes, you need zinc also, but the big thing that'll make the biggest change is B12. Once you realize the benefits of getting that, then you'll be like, oh, maybe I can feel better than I feel now, and then you'll start looking at it. You'll go get a blood test and say, hey, I'm low in everything, or I'm low in some things. Also, vegan. I'm also vegetarian, which you need vitamin D3. You need vitamin B12, especially. Listen, the water that we drink. We have things in the water that protect our piping. It's called chloramine. Chloramine is like chlorine, but it doesn't evaporate out of your water. So that stays. So when you drink it, it goes down, and so it can kill the bacteria in your gut that moves. Like if you drink milk or leafy greens or any other thing's got B12 in it, it won't absorb from your gut into your bloodstream. So you definitely, a vegetarian diet without supplementation is suicide. That's what, you could look up that exact line, Johns Hopkins. Is there any vitamin complex? No, listen, vitamin complexes are bad for you for one specific reason. You need different levels of each vitamin for different types of absorption, for going from gut to bloodstream or bloodstream to tissues to bones to whatever. So you need to be able to dial in what's right for you. It's better to take one than to not, but they can trick you into thinking, oh, I've taken the vitamins and I still feel bad, so now let me go get on SSRIs. I have to take sublingual. That's what I take. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I take. Yes, this is sublingual. Here, I got it up on the screen. I don't know why. This is exactly it. If anyone has problems, this is exactly what I take. Methylcobalamin, 5,000 micrograms, exactly the same thing. Sublingual. Look, you can got a penny. And it just dissolves under your tongue. I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's it. Sublingual. Sublingual. Do you like Carl Sagan? I'm a fan of Carl. Yeah, dude, Carl Sagan taught me a lot. It's a school. Thank you, Daily Time Travel, gifted a membership. Hey, Environment program. 12 hours a day, pure sun. Yeah, you should be great, brother. You should be great. Benny's awesome. Cosmos. Yeah. I haven't watched. I do. Let's see. That might be a different. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm back. All right. Sorry about that. What did I miss? Okay, so I lost where I was. Chloramine. What the hell is that? So chloramine is a chloride compound in order to kill bacteria and to help the wall. So not all of our pipes are plastic. Some of them are metals, different types of metals, and you need a layer on them, usually an oxide layer. So like the lead pipes that are still used in America, you need a lead oxide coating on them so that the lead doesn't soak into the water. So they use chemistry to do that and to make sure that the plastics don't, because listen, they don't care about you. They want to make sure that their pipes don't break, because if you die, you just die. But if the pipe breaks, it's millions of dollars or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix. I'm 49 and I'm not married. Girls don't like me. All right, I missed something. Okay, real climate change comment. The Earth is currently doing a rotational cycle every 23,000 years. We rotate poles. Yeah, yes, right. So I can't pull it up on the screen because my thing just crashed. But yes, so this is one of the big things, and because it was so political, they narrowed down the data that we pull from, and they just said from all gathered data. We only had thermometers since the since the late early 1800s, and we only started documenting that in like the late 1800s. So like it's just saying it's only going up and it's just going to keep going up and we're going to die. So you had a bunch of people to scare people, but now they're like, oh well, the CO2 levels going up, but not the methane levels, and the things that were taught about, or the studies that were done were on CO2. Methane would be the issue. But because it's like 100 times stronger, not 100 times. Let me double check that. I think it might be 100 times. How much stronger of a greenhouse gas is methane versus CO2? 80 times stronger. Oops, I broke it. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, so it's 80 times stronger. Carbon dioxide, it's trapping over 80 times more. Methane is a significantly stronger greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, trapping 80 times more CO2. But the CO2 level is what we can monitor rising. And that's why when it got political, they pushed CO2. It's fine. Listen. When a news station decides to tell us something, they're going to tell us what they're paid, what their marketers, what their not subscribers, advertisers, and their stockholders, which benefits them the most. And so if they can freak everybody out and start buying solar panels and wind, Listen, if they actually cared, we wouldn't use solar panels and wind farms. It takes more oil, more crude oil products, more to build a solar panel than that solar panel would offset in its entire 20-year lifespan. The same thing with the wind, with the windmills. The windmills are fiberglass that use resins that off gas just setting that, and that puts off a hell of a lot more than the windmill would offset. And all this has been known. Biggest truth of life: you will be born and you will die. That's right. Muted. Magic Mama, what's the plans, bro? You moving to any planet soon? I think I'm gonna hang out here for a little while. What do you have to say about people who are against nuclear energy? Yeah, learn it. Learn more. Listen, this is the same thing using old data. The nuclear reactors, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, there's stuff that's way different. There's these thorium reactors that they're building in Germany right now that have what's called an onion core reactor. It looks like an onion when you cut it in half, and it uses heavy water in the middle of it. And that's what causes the neutron release or the neutron amplification. If it starts to overrun, you just drain the water out of it. So the way it used to be is you had control rods that you had to slide in between the other active fuel rods in order to slow a reaction. But the problem is if they swelled up, that they couldn't fit in or they'd get stuck, and then you'd have a runaway reaction. This, you could just shoot it. If you had to puncture a hole with an armor piercer just to drain the water out of it. And they're the size, the new ones now, they can fit in a 40-foot shipping container. So, and they run like 500,000 watts. This is incorrect and misinformation. Visit Austria. I don't want to pay higher energy costs. I'm out. Stable fusion is near. I'd like to see. I like to see the experiments and stuff like that, but it's so super expensive to get the reactions started. Do you think you're living in the Matrix or not? Yeah, we're totally living in the Matrix. You are the only real one, and the rest are just programmed. People think the water vapor coming out of the nuclear power plants is CO2. Right. It's H2O. Climate change is absolutely a natural thing. There's no empirical evidence. Right. And the problem is, for so long, so many people were like, look, hey, my name is Dr. Blah, blah, blah. And me and 19 PhD students decided to get rich by scaring the hell out of everyone. Now, every government had to give them millions of dollars to make sure that the world didn't end because they were the only ones that could study it. And then that went on. And then the people that they taught, the students that they taught, became professors that taught more students, and it went down. And then they don't tell you when these reports come out. It's just, is it going to end the world, and when? When's it going to destroy us? It doesn't say, oh, but there's also all of this evidence against it. And evidence is a problem. People don't know there's high confidence and low confidence evidence. But when they say it in public releases, they just say evidence. I can hear you now. Academic bias, exactly. I think we got like 2,000 more years. I don't know what day we're on. And I don't think, I've read a lot about that, okay? I don't think it's a whoop. I think it's a, it might be a whoop. And there's also theories that we can sustain that because magnetism and gravity don't go hand in hand. Right? So it's not like we would fly off the planet, like we would be repulsed, but it's theories. That's just the thing. There's hypotheses and theories. We won't know till it happens. Are you succeeded in finding purposely? Yes, I've succeeded. Yeah. Dude, listen. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to visit Austria. I'd love to. Let's visit it right now. The beauty of Austria. Man, let's go to Austria, dude. Jeez, look at this. This has got to be AI. Good night, Nixo. Can you please look up meows? Sure, I got you, ND. Meows in Austria. This is what happened from climate change. It's too much CO2 happened, and then a cat tried to catch an owl, and it got pregnant because of climate change. It's horrible. All of your cats are going to fly away because you didn't buy solar panels. I'm doing good, tall guy. How are you? You should have bought solar panels, everyone. But AOC says Green New Deal, Cal Fart's going to kill us in 12 years. She'll be over for known as Cal Fart Cortez. Her idea attacks the Cal Fart. Dude, and do you hear what came out today? So they tried to release, they tried to pass a law to find all of the sexual predators in Congress and AOC voted it down. Jasmine Crockett voted it down. The Democrat women that were during when Biden was office were all like, we got to take Trump down because he's a predator. Now they could have passed a law to take all the to do investigations on Congress, and she voted no. She said no, let's not investigate him. Crazy. Austria is definitely gorgeous. Perpe Zeg Worsterfax. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull it up. And then we'll look it up. Hold on. We'll do the AOC thing real quick. Oops, wrong thing. Where am I at? Oh, yeah, this will do. Let's just do this. Okay. It's so crazy. They're such freaking liars. And you got all these. She was a bartender. Some freaking predator came in and been like, hey, you want to be a freaking. To think I was a Democrat. Unbelievable. I mean, but to be fair, they've definitely got hijacked by like the mob, the cartel, and the wackadoos. I mean, obvious. It's just super obvious now. I mean, yeah, it's just. Where am I at? I went the wrong thing. Here we go. There you go. I love this.
How come your sister girls voted no? Y'all want the Epstein files
Brandon Jamal.
exposed, but you vote no to expose your colleagues? You see, this is why I left the liberals. This is why I left the Democratic Party.
We'll talk about
as somebody who loves to laugh,
yeah, I agree, Paul.
Hypocrisy and irony hilarious.
What up, Eldrin?
AOC,
what up?
She literally says she voted no because the bill was rushed. Bitch, what? What about the famous hair hat Jasmine Crockett? Miss, open the files. Open all the files. What about the files of your co-workers, heifer? How could you vote no on this? Don't worry, you won't be voting for shit else soon.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. So it was. They oddly enough, the Republicans just put out a bill to say, let's find out, let's do investigations on all abuses that were alleged to Congress, Senate, and President since 1970. And the Democrats said no. No. Well, is that why the Democrats didn't put out the Epstein files? Because they didn't want, why? Why are they voting no? Why would you vote no against finding sexual predators that you possibly work with? It's unbelievable. Started out damn too, right? Yeah. Romania had vampires. EBT Crockett. Last CERN test was a near global disaster. Luckily, the coast was. That I didn't know of. I saw something today about. So in CERN, they found out that they were testing creation theory, the Big Bang theory. And they found out that they're wrong. They're wrong. There's too much lithium in the world, or either 3 times too much or 3 times not enough. Because there's things called necessary poisons, things that keep things. So things have to be created in star explosions in ratios because there's only so many protons and neutrons and whatnot. So they're talking about having to change physics as we know it. That came out today. Just what we're talking about. It's open topic. We talk about whales talking, how we can hear the sun. We talk about AOC not signing the law to find sexual predators in Congress. USA is a shit country. 36 to 38 million in poverty, millions in homeless, no workers, right? Yeah, I know. It needs to get better. I agree. Please show the article. I'm interested. It's okay. Well, let's watch a video on it. Is it true CERN Shiva is CERN Shiva in front of the research center? I've never seen that. Jesus Christ is King, is God, created everything on earth. What's up, God? Sorry, brother. Wireless body area network. The reason every distraction CERN is a giant magnet. Dude, it is. It absolutely is a giant magnet. Yes, look, right here. Not just AOC, but also Jasmine Crockett and everything.
How come your sister girls voted no? Y'all want the Epstein files exposed, but you vote no to expose your colleagues? You see, this is why I left the liberals. This is why I left the Democratic Party, because as somebody who loves to laugh, I find hypocrisy and irony.
Well, so that's what came out. It was actually yesterday. It came out 23 hours ago. So yesterday, and then a video was done on it. To go over the data that they got to redo physics. And now they're not sure if the physics in our universe is the same as the physics on the other side of the universe. So everything's just been wrong. Everything, or at least just not exact. And all, like they want to change cosmological and physical constants. The things that were supposed to be the same all over, the math isn't working. Now that we've got better sensors and better telescopes, they're like, oh, well, we can't find all of this stuff. And so they're like, hey, and they've been hiding this since 83 because obviously too many kids have been being taught that. And so like, certain the guy, yeah, it's absolutely. So if they're just going to flip all the physics, they have universal gas. Listen, we'll watch it. But yeah, so yeah, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, I can't remember the old lady's name, both the old ladies' names. They've all voted no to find sexual predators in Congress. They were going to search all sexual abuse and assault allegations from 1970 to 2025, and they said no. Since they can't hold the files over Trump, they can't interested anymore. Right. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. They've been guessing this. Yeah, they've been guessing. I disappointed my wife in bed last night this morning in a gelatin costume and sang, you may say I'm a comer, but I'm the only one. There's absolutely nothing on the internet from March 2026. Hey, hold on, brother. Hold on. Yeah, listen. Yes, there is. First of all, yes, there is. And it's not saying they've been rewritten. They're saying they may need to be rewritten. So hold on, calm down, duality. Absolutely. We'll go over all the papers are in the everything's cited. So we'll go over it, Fred. Hey, look, I was just as upset as you were. We can only measure what we can physically get a sensor on. So we've been guessing what's 5,000 light years away, and we've been guessing. So you'll see. You won't believe me. That thing. You won't believe me. Oh, oops. The Big Bang has a problem. Uh-oh.
Helps you excel at science. The Big Bang theory is
I'll give you a link to the video. You can go over all the papers if you want.
perfect, except for one glaring problem. Where is all the lithium? The Big Bang Theory is our current best explanation for how our universe came to be and evolved to be what we see around us today. But if you
I believe it was for both. It was supposed to be for everyone in the government for sexual assault allegations for government officials and employees. Now, so that's what it was said before it got. Before they bitched about it and made changes, and then they finally voted on it, and then they're saying no. Wi-Fi, interesting. Wi-Fi fighting. Apparently, you can track humans' exact position. So yes. So that's so especially 5G millimeter wave. You can. There's very, very, very interesting studies showing how they. Outside your house using your phone, your body, and your router, just the waves that come off, the transmit and receive waves, and how your body absorbs, slows the waves up, and that can all be sensed remotely. It's freaking crazy. All right, let's go, Rose. All right, well, look. Who fact check the fact checkers? Whoever makes the most money off of the facts, whatever the facts currently are. And here's the problem, is people don't understand the difference between theory, hypothesis, law, and fact. They don't, and we don't, and we're not taught that. So many people would argue with me if they were taught that.
How much lithium there should be in the universe? It predicts over 3 times as much as we've observed.
Right, it should have, right, it's 3 times as low as it should be, which
So is this just a case of we've been looking in the wrong place for all this lithium and we just haven't found it yet?
This was
Or is
2011.
there something wrong with the predictions that the Big Bang Theory makes for what happened in the first 3
nothing on the
minutes of
internet.
the universe's life?
Your
So in this video, we're going to dive into all
use
this
Chat
and chat
GPT.
first about how much lithium the Big Bang Theory predicts should be made, what's known as Big Bang nucleosynthesis.
All right, so let's
Then we'll
do
chat
this.
about how
So
and
let's
where
let's get to the point where they're
reactions are a
talking about what
cycle
needs to
of
be done.
binding
Possible solution.
physics that underpins all of the Big Bang nucleosynthesis predictions. For example, the Standard Model currently doesn't have any explanation for dark matter.
The
matter
Standard
that we
Model.
can't see because it doesn't interact with
why.
light, but we know is there because of its gravitational pull on objects around it. I have a whole video on the evidence that we have for dark matter if you want to check that out. But despite all of that evidence that us astrophysicists have collected, particle physicists don't have an explanation for what it could be made of, if in fact it is a particle. There is
Right,
a
they don't know. It's
hypothesis
just
in particle
guesses.
physics called supersymmetry that says all the known particles in the Standard Model have a supersymmetric partner particle.
Wireless body
with
area
different
network.
spin properties.
Healthcare
And that's not just a
4.0.
hypothesis
Do you have
that's
thoughts on
popped out of
Dyson's
nowhere.
three? We'll
It's
talk
been
about that,
raised
bro.
to explain things like why gravity is so weak compared to all of the other forces in the universe.
They don't know.
And also give a possible candidate for dark matter. And if these dark matter supersymmetric particles were present in the early universe, they could also decay into normal matter particles and interfere in this cycle of reactions that gives us the production of these light elements. Having said that, we have no evidence yet for supersymmetry, despite dedicated searches for these supersymmetric particles.
Right, and most
in
people would
particle
believe
accelerators like CERN.
that supersymmetry is a thing. I've had people yell at me, and I'm like, it's a theory, and there's no evidence.
So
It's
instead
a
of new
theory
particles,
of why
what if
something
our
isn't where
fundamental
it is.
constants of physics
But anyway.
could change. Things like the fine structure constant, alpha, which measures the strength of electromagnetic interaction with particles. It's defined by lots of other physics constants you might recognize, including the speed of light, the charge of a proton, Planck's constant, and the electrical permittivity of free space. Perhaps in the first few seconds of the universe's lifetime, the conditions are so extreme that this actually changes the value of these physical
Right,
constants.
so
Enough
they're not constants.
to
So
shake
hold on,
up that
keep going.
cycle of reactions and change the Big Bang nucleosynthesis predictions. It might sound crazy, but there have been a lot of observations and lab experiments over the years to try and determine if any of our physical constants do change either in space or in time. Or
So
maybe
why don't
there's
so
even
why
something
why
wrong.
haven't we ever been taught that? Why haven't we ever been taught that this is the current constant, but we're trying to find out why it's probably not right. So we're spending a lot of time to find out why it's not right and what it could possibly be. They don't say that when they say here's a theory that somebody's made a college course out of.
With our cosmological model for how the universe has evolved. Specifically what's known as the cosmological principle that I've talked about on this channel before. The assumption that on a big enough scale, the universe is the same everywhere and in all directions. If that's not true, and you do get differences from place to place in the universe, that messes with the ratio between the amount of normal matter to photons, particles of light that you have in different places in the universe. And remember, that's what sets the value of the predictions from Big Bang nucleosynthesis.
Right.
And could give you a different ratio of elements in different places in the universe. So, there
Hey,
are
thank
many,
you,
many
Robert. Just
different
give us the
hypotheses that have
miracle
been raised
Big Bang
to
and dark
solve
matter.
the lithium problem. Some, admittedly, more likely than others. I think I know which one my money is on, but let me know down in the comments which one you think is the most likely culprit for the lithium problem. Now, I remember when I was starting out in my astrophysics education,
let's
how
go back
confusing
to
it
the other
was to
ones.
be constantly faced by new scientific ideas that with the astrophysics solutions. And ELF accounts for explanations for 3. What are the possible solutions to the lithium problem? Well, our explanations fall broadly into 3 categories. Either our measurements for how much lithium there is in the universe are wrong, and there's an astrophysical explanation for all of this. Or our predictions from Big Bang nucleosynthesis of how much lithium there should be in the universe is wrong, and there's a nuclear physics explanation for all of this. Or our physics itself is wrong. Maybe there's some new physics beyond the standard model that we've missed. So
our physics itself is wrong, and there's new physics beyond the standard model that we've missed. All right? So
start with the astrophysics.
Like she explains it.
For example, it could be that lithium is
very good
actually
estimated guesses,
destroyed in stars' atmospheres.
I found God in a piece of pie.
Dragged down towards the very center where it's used up in fusion. And recent detailed simulations from Borisov and collaborators in 2024, which included the proper mixing of elements with convection and turbulence and all the chaos going on inside a star that lead to changes in temperature and what can fuse where, actually showed that the amount of lithium does drop over a star's lifetime.
So duality, right. And that's one of the theories. But the problem is when you break down from astrophysicist to particle physicist to astrophysics and particle physics, they're not matching up anymore because astrophysics is getting a lot more data, and then the particle definitions, what we've been using, the constants aren't right, and they know they're not right, but they answer a lot of questions. But now we've got more sensors and more data from last year, so now we've got things, and we're like, oh, well, that doesn't work. I guess there's more physics, but it's taught to us like it's true. But absolutely, you could be correct, 100% right. It could, and she actually mentions that. She actually mentions that it could be from decay. But then when it decays, you still have to have a certain ratio of what's around it. Like, so you have a mass of a gas, right? And then it decays into something. But whatever that mass is can be measured, and it can only decay into so many ratios of weights, because it can't decay from helium to lead like without having enough other particles around to make the mass up. Like, you have to have available. So hold on, we'll keep going. It's crazy.
Stars, regardless of how much iron this star has.
I think we agree.
Which naturally gives rise to...
biology's having a lot of problems right now with the abiogenesis because biologists and chemists aren't best friends right now. We'll get into it.
A plateau, like the spike plateau that is consistent with the iron over hydrogen.
Hold on, sorry. Let me go back about this. This is important.
Which naturally gives rise to a plateau, like the spike plateau that is consistent with the iron over hydrogen ratio. However, it's not quite enough to explain the difference between the predictions and our measured amount. But is that just a coincidence of the assumptions used in the simulations? How robust are they if you start tweaking with the starting points? So there's still a lot of work to do there. So what about if our measurements are right, but our predictions from Big Bang nucleosynthesis are wrong, and there's just a nuclear physics explanation for all of this? Perhaps there could be extra reactions going on in this cycle that would reduce the amount of lithium made, maybe turning it into heavier elements like carbon and beryllium. But there have been lots of active searches for new reactions, but so far none.
Like one molecule, one atom of lead won't decay into one atom of lead. There needs to be a shit ton of hydrogen, helium, whatever, to equal the mass of that particle. And the problem is we've got answers for that. And this is just one thing. But this is the thing. So when we teach science, we teach and math, okay, but science specifically, we teach from axioms. We say, in this book, we're going to talk like the Big Bang is true. Because we can save a whole bunch of words by saying probably and most likely. So then kids read that and they say, oh, the world started with the Big Bang. But if they looked in the back of the book under the axioms, it would say the Big Bang we don't know if it happened or not. It looks like it, and here's some evidence for it, here's some evidence against it. And then now, so from that, whether regardless if it happened or not, the science, the way that the science has been disseminated from it for what we currently knew was right. But we got more data that proves that some of that was wrong. And some of it is the most important constants in physics, which means we had too small of a sample size. So and then just like scientists that published say, it's what we knew at the time. But people believe everything that comes from that is true. And then they argue with people, and the problem is it's not true. But if you're going to buy a commercial, if you're going to pay an influencer, you're not going to pay them to say it might not be true, but it might be. Here's the evidence for, here's the evidence against. All right, sorry, I got way back. What up, Sack? My point being that nothing is provable. You can get closer to an answer near impossible. Right. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking to me or not. I think yeah. What's your greater point then? I just joined. Apologies. So a bunch of new data came out that a lot of our physics might be wrong. The universe may not be, there may be different physics around different parts of the universe. Some of our constants, for astrophysics at least, look like, well, they're incorrect because there's too little lithium. There should be 3 times the amount of lithium than there is in the universe, and there's not. And so there's a lot's going to be happening in science over the next couple years, which is why all of science estimates and hypotheses. Right, and kids aren't told that enough. Kids aren't taught that. And then you have kids that grow up believing that, and then they become teachers and professors, and then they teach it like it's true. And then people argue on the internet, and we could have been good friends and everything. Agent 6, Miss Shaggy. Hey, Shaggy. Just starting to learn English? Hey, are you doing good? Anyone do something? No, I don't think so. Maybe they right. And this is the problem with people that are science explainers. Because it's so complex, and they've only got a 3-minute spot on the daily or the nightly news, that they're going to choose their words wisely, and the average of us think it's the truth. And then the average of us comes across people that have got more data, and they're like, "You're a freaking liar," Not a liar, dude. Yeah, there's a guy talking about biology, but he never gave any reasons why. Listen, there's a lot of really cool stuff. What's going on? So SAC looks like they're rewriting a couple constants, or they've been trying to since 1983 apparently. But why don't we ever hear about that? Why don't we? You don't need to know it. You can still because we're selling you a course, and in order for you to feel like you've got value for what you've paid us for this course, you have to pass the exam, which shows that you got value. You paid us money and you passed an exam. But it has nothing to do with the truth. Everyone's saying part of the bigger picture, but disagreeing with others. Antibiotic resistance to bacteria is an example of anthropogenic evolution. But it's not. It's not. It's an example, probably example of a possibility. But it's not. Listen, and here's the problem. If you look at the data against that, they're saying that that it always had the bacteria when they study the DNA of the bacteria, it always had the ability to beat that, but it was turned off. And then that part of their DNA was disabled. Epigenetics of that part of the DNA that activates the expression of those genes were turned off. So it doesn't change its genes. It doesn't turn it into something else. It just turns something else on. So it's like you started a boxing match with antibiotics, and then the antibiotics brought another guy in. So you pulled out a knife. You're still you. And you had the knife the whole time, but you weren't wielding the knife. So that's a big problem with why people believe that evolution, bacterial evolution and interspecial evolution is true. But it's just theory. It's theory. Nobody was there. Nobody was there to say, hey, here's a freaking bacteria. Now it's James, And then people get so emotional about it because they spend so much money learning this stuff, and then they find out that that it's not the truth. Well, I paid that much for it. It better be true. Well, go find out. Experts have always had an issue admitting they don't know. Right. And think about if you've had a 40-year career teaching thousands of kids. And then come to find, dude, and this actually happened. So in 1904, a guy made something called the Piltdown Man, which was the proof. It was the evidence that there was half chimp, half human. And then in 1950, 50 years later, it's found out that he was a fraud. He just glued things together and painted them, stained them to look bad. Look it up. But think about all of but in those 50 years, how many children learned that and turned into professors, and professors learned that taught that, and then they became professors, and thousands, hundreds of thousands of millions of people learned that as the truth, and they didn't take it out till 2016. Look at this. The Piltdown Man hoax.
He took the pieces of bone and stained them darker and filed down ape teeth to make them look warm.
Right.
You see,
so we shouldn't be arguing, but people say, I learned this, I got a PhD in this. Yeah, and it wasn't the truth, and more stuff came out. So if you got a PhD in that, why did you stop learning after you got the PhD? More stuff has come out in the past 20 years, and that's a problem. What makes it regenerative? Regenerate. I am circumcised. Ligma ballsack. Richard, your theory of people died, so they have a forever change. A good theory, I think, will be reversible. Right. Theory pretty much means true, like gravity's a theory. Gravity's not a theory. We can measure gravity. So there are theoretical. There are theories about gravity, but gravity. You can test it. It's repeatable. You can test it over and over and over again. Gravity's not a theory. Gravity's a natural law.
The man wanted to become a famous scientist, so he buried the pieces next to some animal bones. And when he dug them back up, he claimed he had found the mystery.
Sorry. Hold on this again. It wasn't until I realized that science invented the body mechanics of dinosaurs totally misrepresented. Not even just that, dude. We found meat on a Tyrannosaurus Rex in 2004, which means either meat can last millions of years being buried, or we were wrong about how it's not 25 million years. It's just 1 million years. No one was there to take pictures. It's just guesses. And even since Mount St. Helens in 1980, the lava that came out of there was tested, and after it hardened into a rock, which resets the timer for how old something is. Because remember, when they test rock, when lava flowed over the dinosaurs, they said that lava reset its time. So we can say this is 25 million years old. Well, the lava that was tested in 1985 from the 1980 eruption tested as a 1.5 million years old, and it was 5 years old. So they're like, oh, well, and also carbon-14 shouldn't be in coal or diamond. And we find carbon-14 in coal and diamond. And carbon-14 can only test back to 60 to 80,000 years. 80 only high end. Yeah, okay.
He took the pieces of bone and stained them darker and filed down ape teeth to make them look worn. You see, some say the man wanted to become a famous scientist, so he buried the pieces next to some animal
So it was
bones.
a meme.
And when he dug them back up, he claimed he had found the missing link between humans and apes. He was praised for his work, but decades later, scientists discovered the skull pieces were from a modern human, while the jaw was taken from an orangutan, and they realized that it was nothing more than just a hoax.
Right, but so many people became professional educators and scientists on these theories, and they didn't want to let it all out and be like, hey, I've already retired on this, and I'm famous for being and no, sorry, dude, it wasn't true. And this is something cool too. So do you remember when they said that humans are 98.5%, human DNA and chimpanzee DNA are 98.5% in alike? Well, it's not. It's a lie. Here's the lie. They back when they did these tests, the common theory of DNA was that 75 to 80% of it was junk DNA. It was just structure to hold up what needed to be done and whatnot. So they only looked at the top 5%, which they believed, the theories at the time, that was that the top 5% is what makes people and things. So they took the top 5% of human DNA and the top 5% of chimpanzee DNA, and they matched that up. And that's about 90% correct. But if you look at the rest of it, it's all whacked out. It's like 40%. So that was a lie too, but it was a good lie. But we only looked at 5%. Okay, why'd you teach it like it was true? It is 5%. 98% of 5%. Richard, one of the things I found, everything could be nodes, like people, state, communities, good, evil. And it's misleading if you take the node or gravity and say it's something different. Is it misleading? Yeah. Some bacteria of resistance gene may already be present but not strongly expressed, but many resistance genes are new mutations. Right. Okay, right. But hold on. Let's look over something real quick. Okay. Genetic mutations in antimicrobial. Hold on. Genetic mutations in bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. Okay. All right. Let's just see what this is. I haven't looked into all this wackadoodle yet, but we'll see. All right. Antibiotic resistant arise through specific genetic mutation. And here, sorry. Yes, I did know this. Okay, hold on. It's called horizontal gene transfer. Bacteria can shift things over. So the mutation wasn't necessarily a mutation. They got it from another bacteria that was better at it. So it might have been a weaker bacteria in one case. So it took it because this one was dying and it could take it. It's called horizontal gene transfer. Yes, I completely forgot about that. Right. Allowing them to evade drugs via target site modification and increase efflux pump activation, and this is what I was talking about before. They can turn on parts of their DNA, and enzymatic degradation of antibiotics. Key mutations occur in genes encoding drug targets such as DNA gyrase and fluoroquinone RNA. Okay, target modifications. Mutations alter the drug's target site. Okay, so they're changing what the drug does, but what? Let's see what happens. Spontaneous random mutations under selective pressure, sublethal antibiotic exposure allow resistant bacteria to survive and multiply. So that's another thing too. So the bacteria that could resist it is already there. But you need a big population of bacteria before you get sick. So if you've got 1 million bacteria that amoxicillin can destroy and 12 that it can't, well, you're fine with just 12 bacteria, and then they'll start to grow up again, and then eventually they start to basically mate. Just like how if you have sex with someone with blue eyes and you have brown eyes, your kids might have blue eyes or brown eyes. It's horizontal gene transfer, but it doesn't create something new. Gravity is a theory, but also a law and an observable fact. Comes from the difference between right, and that's not explained to people either. They don't know. What up, Catra? Big wild card tornado. Wasn't expecting this. Had 2% risk today, even for 2%. Yes, still did 2%. Remember, weathermen can be 50% right on 1%. They don't say how their theories are colleagues. Yes, right, because they want to say I discovered something new, and their colleagues are busy doing other stuff. They're not just like, they're like, oh, cool, I'm trying to get famous and rich too. Yeah, they're following their own theories and hypotheses. Existing genes already present in new mutations appearing in gene sharing between bacteria, all three forms of evolution by natural selection. Listen, it doesn't turn the bacteria into a dog. It doesn't change that part of the DNA. You have areas of your DNA that can be shifted in bacteria, but not in humans. And you can't, it won't turn the bacteria into a wolf to so you have bacterial mutation that's brought into the human evolution theory. But they don't work alike. They're two different species. Yeah. Who's confused about gravity? Him. What's the motivation behind your channel? So I learned a whole bunch of things in my life, and now that I'm unemployed, I'm retired. I wanted to teach it, and I want to learn everything that I don't know. Gravity is misleading. Magnetism, other jazz. Gravity is more understandable. Common works people just know about. If you're central to eastern southern Michigan, you may need to take shelter. It's possibly remotely likely that Einstein is still a theory of gravity from another scientist who wrote it down. Yes. Listen, he worked in the patent office. He worked in the patent office. You don't think he was reading all the patents that came in and people are like, hey, this, that, I wanted the patent. Dude, yeah, it's absolutely possible. Listen, and he was wrong a lot of times, but that didn't get publicized. But you can read about it, absolutely. The guy worships the devil. This guy worships Jesus Christ. I don't know much about that when I discovered it, so I don't know. Nothing intelligent to say about being proven wrong. Who are we talking about? Evolutionary biology is used every single day at the... devil as a human. Stop misleading. Hey friend, new album, Goodbye No Remorse, officially by Billy the Kid 999 on all platforms. Science is flawed. So many elites have paid others to find theories. And when science was able when science became political, when they said our science can then how can we use this wacky ass science to get people elected and get people and change people's spending habits? You can tell the world they're going to die if they don't buy solar panels. How about you just give them to us so that you can spend your money? You've got $1 trillion. If the world ends, you can't spend that money. So yeah, if the world was really going to end and we really had to do serious, they wouldn't tell us to buy solar panels and to buy cars that have less. No, they wouldn't do that. The government would the army would show up and they would install solar. There's Army Corps of Engineers would just start installing solar panels to everybody's house and ripping the gas lines out. It's not, yeah. Have you ever tried? I like it hot. We love Israel. Science is about being wrong in order to find the truth. Right, but the personalities get mixed up. People that cannot take it that they're wrong. Einstein didn't come up with gravity or claim. Have you tried Dickinson? I wasn't talking about that. I wasn't talking. He just asked if he could be wrong. And about his theories. If he said gravity, I apologize, whatever. But yeah, I meant he worked in the. He asked if it was possible. I'm saying yes, it's possible. Evolution is pretty easy to prove it. All right. I'm riding home with my dad, so I watch clouds. Phew, there are some low hanging clouds. There's a lot of evolutions. The problem is, did we start from nothing and become something? So people say, yeah, we can prove that you could lift weights and your muscles evolve and get stronger. Sure. Then they take that same thing and they move it to other things. But we didn't start from a freaking nothing and become a something. They have a state level cyber hackers. I never said the reason. I meant he came up with the theory of relativity. There you go. Isaac Newton came up with the theory of gravity. So Isaac Newton witnessed gravity and then, right. And he invented calculus in 1665. I don't think we should say science is wrong. Scientists, is that better? Scientists are wrong, and we're too accepting of people to take them on their word. We're way too accepting. The little technology you're using wouldn't exist without billions upon billions and billions of decades of advancements in technology. Right? Yes, right. So technology evolves. Right. So you can prove that, but the problem is. You have creationists and you have evolutionists that try to say, look, this changes, but we've never seen a interspecies change or any evidence for it, ever. Let me guess, mentally ill Democrat. Nope. Very true, dude. Brother, I take B12. I ain't no Democrat. It's definitely not after today. Artificial ingredients plus artificial ingredients equals artificial idiots. Breeding. How to do calculus. I suck at calculus. I only do the calculus I need to do if I need to solve something. If there's a problem I need solved, I learn what I need to learn to solve that problem. I'm not going to sit there and learn freaking a calculus textbook. Theists only have abiogenesis left now that science has discovered the secrets of the natural world. But that's not good enough? Abiogenesis isn't good enough? What about the dissolution of the RNA theory? What about the time in the gaps theories? What about that? Give me billions and billions of years, but you got 4 hours. You got 4 hours to have nucleotides connect to the backbone of RNA. 4 hours, not billions of years. So I think abiogenesis is fine. But Ross, are you saying that one of them's correct and one of them's not? Because the evidence is so outstanding. Is that what you're saying? Shaggy. And tonight we're going to watch the clouds from my little host stand. You fundamentally don't understand evolutionary science. We have seen evidence of speculation? Okay. What I'm saying is we aren't created, and there's no evidence that interspecies evolution ever happened. If the monkey theory is crazy, where did half monkey, half stop evolving this one day? Speciation. All right, cool. Thanks, brother. An example of mammalian skeletal structures reveals a consistent pattern suggesting common ancestral origin. No, it doesn't. A giraffe has the same number of spinal bones as a human, right? So just because they're and a lot of things use spines, so we didn't all evolve to have the best spine. And look, we have the Cambrian explosion, but abiogenesis blows a lot of it right out of the water anyway. Listen, and it doesn't even matter that. The point is, it can't be started from nothing. We're either in a simulation or somebody created us. Play some King Von. Right now, we don't see completely the real world. All right. Thank you, Maple. Okay, I'm 7 minutes over. All right, hey, Ross, brother, if you get find me some data on that, I'll be back in a half hour after I eat. I'd love to go over it. All right, everybody. I love you guys. I'll see you guys back in about a half hour. Bye.